Welcome guys, this is Team 100 Hours. Today we're gonna take a closer look at my Nilfgaard deck, which I use to climb to rank 1 on the ladder. We're gonna go over my deck build, the card choices I made, and also cards you could exchange because you don't have them or the meta changes a little bit maybe. After that I'm gonna present you some gameplay, show you how to mulligan, and also the general game approach, so enjoy. So guys, here we are at the deck building screen. We shall start off with the Browse slot, and here I would also directly start with one of the Browse cards, which are kind of an auto-include, the Imperial Golem. This Golem, I think you simply get them for free. I don't think there's any doubt that this card has to be in every Nilfgaard deck. That card is super strong. Whoever plays Nilfgaard plays Imperial Golems because they are for free and they thin your deck out. Since this is a deck which is built around spy synergy, you want to have some of the best spy synergy cards, starting off with the Emperor Brigade. Guys, they grow up to like, I would say 14 to 20 stats if you play them the right way. And that's pretty good for a Browse card. So I would say these guys go in there. If you play spies, I would also advise you to put them in there. Next thing you want to put in, since we're already talking about spies, is the emissary. Also a very nice card. What they do basically, first of all, they pull you brigade. They are spies themselves. And they also pull you other spies, which make the brigades also bigger. So if you want to run a spy synergized deck, you should definitely run the emissaries. From spy to spy, I would also go to the next card, which I think is very much an auto-include in a spy-based deck. Also, it's a very strong card just itself. The rod toss of it is, first of all, they create a spy themselves, which is the cow, which also generates even more value by erasing enemy rows. And it's also not in the front row, which is quite nice since you want to distribute there a little bit. So this is basically a spy with like an extra ability, which is like quite nice. So the next three cards are kind of flex spots. So these are the spots where you can adjust to the meta game, maybe include cards because you don't have them. What I put in there was the Nilfgaardian Knight. I feel like the Knight is in average like an 11 stat minion, which is quite nice for a bronze card. You want to have exactly one of them. What you can do with him, you can sometimes protect your row a little bit from weather. Against Skellige, it's nice to utilize the armor against these savage bears. I can also just show you the other two flex spots. First of all, the bearer. I will come to that soon. And also the next one is the medic. So to these two, medic was very much an inclusion because I ran into a lot of Skellige players. In general, I feel like a nice card to steal their Brokva Hunters. Not the most awesome Browse card, but definitely one of the Browse cards you can run in your deck to adjust to the meta game. The standard bearer, I think I had two of them in the first place because I thought it's nicer against these monster decks. Ended up at one then. Maybe you can run two in some metas. I like one at the moment. Especially you can deny rod tosser value with them and clear from the rows from better. I think one of them is where it is at the moment. I'm quite happy with this decision. Nice against Weather, nice against rod tosser. Other options to run here, like instead of these flex spots, I can see running an ambassador if the meta lets you run one, because there's quite a lot of Igni running around. There's a lot of counter cards to big minions in general, or buffed cards. So that's why I didn't like the ambassador. The novice, some people have it, but my experience with him was it thins out the deck too much. So this is one of the cards I wouldn't advise you running. You can run one of these Brigades number 2. They can be a tech card if there's too much Nilfgaard around. That's what I can see instead of the medic. But since you're kind of decent in the mirror anyways, yeah. The next thing you can do is you can cut these 3 cards, bear cards, and include 3 pikemen. I was trying that. I felt like it was kind of weak. There's a lot of lock units running around, a lot of removal running around, and then you just have these pikemans left in your deck, which feels quite bad. Also, when you don't have a weather clear, And these tech cards are kind of nice to adjust to the meta. And I also think this is already it with the brawl slot. I don't advise you running spells, because that will deny you the deck thinning, which is very important for you. So, and also in that regard, we just go to the silver cards. I will just include the cards and also show you why I have them. I mean, first of all, every class got access to these mages. And yeah, these mages, the Vanema especially, I think is one of the strongest mages. First of all, with the Tremor and the Frost, you get an immense spy synergy, because you can just either you shoot down your own emissaries in the end, or you put the emissaries in the row where you put the Frost in. And you also, what you get in the end, also maybe the option to clear against Ragnarok, Broad, or just double Dever. This guy, probably around 17 stats value for a silver card. You should definitely run him. One of the better silver cards. Next one are kind of coming in a pair is Road and Asire. These two are kind of a pair because I'm also saying that because Asire can give you double Roach value. So first of all, coming to the Roach, where what Roach does, first of all, it's probably one of the best premium silver cards. What it does for you, it thins out your deck. It thins out your deck and you get it for free. And the extra stat swing also helps you. Especially because you can put it in again with this. What she does for your deck can put strong cards back in your deck again. Like most of the time it's the Roach. And then you can just put any card back you like. This is protecting you from milling. And you can just put silver cards back, which just makes your draw better in the end, or your Kahir better in the end. So Asire is an absolute must. These 3 silver cards, I wouldn't exclude them ever. Also coming to the next silver card, which I think you also shouldn't exclude. Cantarella. Being a spy itself, what makes Cantarella so powerful, especially in this kind of deck, is you have quite a big stat swings. And what you can do with her is convert your stats into card advantage. Let's say in the first round you get a lot of stats with the Brigades, with the hero power. So I would just say with her you can convert the stats into cards or get last say. Cantarella is also a must-have. You can also pull her with the Rheinfarn, but that's something we are coming to later. And she's also a spy, that being said, having synergy with the Brigade. Next spot, Joachim de Wet. Absolute must run. Being spy itself, synergizing with your weather effect, that is Ragnarok. Also, you can pull silver cards with him. He probably reads being around 18 stats in your silver slot. There's only one card which I see being kind of in the flex spot because he's competing with another good silver card. This could be kind of the meta choice. I mean, Peter, people say he's broken, but he's only broken because there are a lot of buff cards in the meta. And he is very good against buff cards. Oh, he's also quite awesome. Sneaky Pete, I call him. Yeah, against buff decks that are being Nilfgaard, that are being sometimes dwarfs or Spellertel, he is super awesome, of course. But in the end, he is not more than this little spell here, the Merdrome, plus 6 stats. So I think you shouldn't overestimate him there. And he does very much compete in some metas with the Orcs, because he is very good against Skelliger, for example, to lock the Worgen and the Olgierd. So in some metas, I would say you either run Orcs instead of Peter. But at the moment, I think Peter is where it is. And I also would say the silver slot of Nilfgaard is a pretty big powerhouse. I'm not too big of a fan of the Guardian, but if you have him and you don't have the other silver cards, you can of course include him. What are other options you can run maybe? I wouldn't advise you running these spells, because normally also class cards being a little bit stronger and you want to run them. The gold slot. First of all, Ragnarok. I also mentioned it earlier. Ragnarok is extremely good with your spies, because with the spies you can always make Ragnarok hit in the first place for 8 stats at least. And if they play their very clear card then, yeah, they have to use a very clear card and they take 8 damage. That is really, really good for you. So Ragnarok also being one of the stronger cards in Gwent, of course, should be in the deck. Kahir. Yeah. This card creates for you, stat-wise, normally up to 18 stat. And here it comes. First of all, John Calvey, being one of the strongest leaders in the game. You can just trigger his ability twice, Ka here being extremely good with a sire, because you can just wait till the end with Ka here, because normally in the beginning, in the first 2 rounds, you have 2 good turns because of your leader ability and these brigades. You can just keep him, keep the sire, shuffle some cards of your choice back, and pull the card with Ka here and get a roach for free. Ka here is an absolute must-have in the deck. It's also a super powerhouse. Next card we are coming to is Ciri. Ciri very much acts as a spy here. You can just slam her. Most of the time you just play her in the first round to get basically a tempo advantage. You can play her, and if you are with even cards of your opponent, and your opponent has to spend at least 1 or even sometimes 2 more cards, you're already 2 cards ahead into the next round, which is really good. She kind of acts like a spy. If you have a lot of tempo and that's out there in the first round, and Ciri is out there and your opponent wants to overcome you, he will get punished by Ciri. So get her out very early. Sometimes you can also say, if you're too far ahead and you say your opponent is just definitely going to pass, you can serve her for round 2. Obviously. Also Ciri can pull you the roach if you have a sire in the hand. Just a very solid inclusion, kind of acts like a spy, converting stats into card advantage. The last card, I know some people are running Tibor. I think Reinfarn is way stronger. First of all, I think it's so powerful in this deck because you have these big stats spikes. I also mentioned that several times already. It's so powerful to have a card like putting a card like Cantarella with him, or just a spy in general. If you have like Brigades on the board, or you're putting Joachim is also super strong because he's such a good card. For me, Reinfarn normally, he's a gold card which pulls you a silver card. So for me, he normally is around 17 stats. And people say Tibor is better. I don't think so. Tibor itself, if the clash effect gets enabled, is 25 stats. Plus, it pulls your opponent a bronze card. I mean, a bronze card normally being around 10 stats in average. That makes him around 15 stats value. And it gets even worse sometimes. Skellige, of course, which is very present in the meta, or Spelatel sometimes. Even Northern Realms, they have an average stronger bronze units, which makes him even weaker. I'm really not a big fan of Tibor. This is already like the end of the deck build. But what I very much like about this build, it's very, very versatile. You can adjust to the meta game by just including some tech cards, which I just mentioned. This is also what I also makes the deck so good. And I also think I will make some changes in the next days. Yeah, sure, the meta will change a little bit. I will adjust. And I hope you're enjoying this deck build a lot. And now let's have some gameplay. So here we are.
Onward,
I'm playing actually a quite usual matchup for the ladder at the moment. It's Krug and Crate versus Nilfgaard, at least at the high end of the level. So what you want to make sure here is just make sure you don't draw your blank. Usually first step to go with this deck, try to blacklist the Imperial Golems. And after that you're gonna look if you have the Roach in the hand. If all of that is not the case, sure, just go on and get rid of the cards you don't want to have, which are normally the bronze cards. So yeah, we get rid of the Roach. Definitely taking his time here. He's at like 3.1k MMR at 3k, which is like a decent high-level game here. Yeah, he normally just pulls the Morgwag here. Sometimes they play...
You've got the heart, not great.
Go.
Just one morsel.
And this is actually quite interesting here, because we were starting second. What you can do here, because you also have Ragnarok in the hand, 2 options. You can either pull Cantarella here, which is very, very strong, because when you're 2 cards ahead, like as I said in the deck building guide already, you're 2 cards ahead of the Cantarella then, and you can even overcome him then with your hero power. I think that's very, very strong. And definitely getting the spy out here is super powerful.
Let us see.
You don't want to get this, so you just right click here. Draw a Brigade. Sure. And suddenly you're playing with a card more, which is quite nice. And 13 stats here, they don't even matter. Also what you do with the Cantarella, which is quite important, put her in a row where Ragnarok gets more value. So you just get +3 value on the Ragnarok, which is quite good. And he's like, that's not that cool. Because you also can't really pass. Sure, Surge Bear definitely being a decent pick here. So we are having 2 options here. And Hero Power is now a bit less appealing because of the Savage Bear. That's why you can usually also hero power first in this matchup, but if you have Reinfarn into Cantarella, it's kind of close. Because not everyone is running the Savage Bear as well. So stuff for us to do here is we still have to use the hero power, or we can go for the Ragnarok. But I think for Ragnarok we should wait until he has something in the last round, which we can also do with the Emissary. But we should play the Emissary after hero power, so sure, let's go.
Onward, sons of Nilfgaard!
Pulling the
Very
Gada. Which is totally fine. Yeah, and definitely we have one more card now, but we have equal stats, which shows we are ahead. And this is also what I was talking about when I was showing you the deck. Like, you have just such nice swings. I mean, the bear here, of course, gets some really good value on the golems, but we are still having a really, really good stat card distribution. Yeah. And this is where you want to play the Ragnarok, usually. You can also play Peter into Ragnarok because when this dies guaranteed. So if you want to get rid of this 100%, you could just Peter it. When we are still ahead in stats, the Peter can usually get used on a Morkvarg. But I think just using Peter here, because you can't use Peter afterwards. He will buff it up then, so it would be kind of a pity. And if he has the Weather Clear, which they usually have, because we're running clear skies, it would be quite a pity. So we just use Peter here.
I strive above all to be just.
To get it down to 3. And then we can just deploy the Ragnarok afterwards. Because also Skelliger usually doesn't have that many back row units. And I would also like to deny him the Orquist. That to be said also, if he wants to resurrect the Orquist later with Sigdriffer, it will only have 3 stats. So it's also very much a future investment. So we're still kind of ahead, which is good. So let's see.
On crate!
Sure. The thing is, he wants to cycle out his Dunmar shield mains now. I'm just going to deploy Ragnarok. I mean, he's sure he gets some extra stats if he kills that. First of all, we don't really mind it, because he will probably have ways to remove it. But the Ragnarok here, powerhouse. Yeah. If he deploys the shield maidens, he's gonna hit a second meteorite wave, which is also not too nice for him. Also, what we can do now is always put a spy in the back row to make sure we get the value from the Ragnarok. Passing for him is not too good.
What is it?
So it also seems like he doesn't have the direct removal here. So there are some options now to play this turn through. What you can do, like, it also seems like he can't remove the Lord of Andvik. That makes kind of possible that he has a second Brokvar Hunter here. So you can say you just buff him up. Makes it possible that he survives. And the barrier not being the best card in this matchup usually. I think it's very nice just to try your best with him here. And we're also getting some meteorite. And the Hunter growing here, but the next meteorite will hit the Hunter. So yeah, you're just trying here to even out the grounds. He's getting damage from the Ragnarok. Like, if you have Ragnarok down and they can't handle it, you're in a pretty good spot anyways. Like, Ragnarok just, you need to have the right timing with it. Like, what's quite nice with the Ragnarok is usually if you overcome them in stats if you deploy it. So our friend's also struggling a little here. Let's see. There's the first light. Yeah, and playing the first light here, I mean, you see it here. We are already 2 cards ahead, and we are still ahead in stats. Not the worst thing in the world. The question that you can ask yourself is here, do you want to continue playing? I mean, you would go into the next round. You would basically have a free card advantage, which is quite a big deal. And one thing which speaks a lot for that is because we have the Lord of Andvik on the board. And if he has Dunmar Shield Maidens, it's not really pleasant for you. So I think a pass here is totally fine. Because if he gets the +10 on the Hjalmar, things don't look that appealing anymore. So we just get the pass out here. Under usual circumstances, I would like to play on, but like this I think it's fine to pass. Yeah, so we have 7 versus 4 cards here.
Just one more circle.
which is not the worst thing in the world. We should also get rid of these rod tossers here, at least a little. Because we still have emissaries in there which you like to find. And we can just pull them with the emissaries. So.
Yield and save me some time.
What would be nice is overcoming the series here with one card. Which card can accomplish that? It's usually only Joachim. If Joachim pulls you a brigade here, you can accomplish that, but we don't have one anymore. So we will usually need 2 cards to overcome here, right? Which is not a problem, obviously. What we also could do is just shuffle the Roach in now. And the second card you usually shuffle here is Peter. To get a bigger stat swing with the car here if he decides he wants to keep on playing.
If magic dies, this world dies with it.
So yeah, not the worst. We will still have card advantage in the last round, so this is kind of good for us. So now you shuffle stuff back in your deck. You still have a lot of stuff to fin through with the emissaries. You want to make sure you don't blank with them. And we still have Bubble Brigada plus a lot of spies, so I think we are good to go. The only advantage he has now, he has Morkrug on the board, which is obviously pretty strong. So what is one of the weakest cards in this matchup generally? It's not like we also have the most decisions to make. I think you should just get rid of one Brigada here. We also overcome him perfectly by 1 stat. So yeah.
Discipline, that is what you folk lack.
That's the least investment. We will have 1 card advantage, therefore he will have a 5 stat Morkrug. And I think we're good to go. We also still have Kahir and 2 Roach and such.
Bite. Just one morsel.
That to be said, you also shouldn't do the mulligan here now, because now we have the Roach in the deck, which we obviously would like to get for free and not draw. So with this, first question is there something nice to resurrect? Because we still have the Resurrector in there. It's quite important with this deck to keep track of your cards. You can resurrect the Savage Bear or the Brokvar Hunter, which is 11 stats. That's also very nice. On the same time, what you do there is like making his resurrection value worse, which is quite nice. So yeah, we can just put that in the front row, because now we actually want to stack the rows, because
A
we
shame
don't have
I
Ragnarok
have no
anymore.
time.
So we get the medic out.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Just get a Brokvar Hunter, I would say. No.
What is it?
Shoot that. And just keep on going. Medic is like
Modern Freyr is patient, but she brooks no
a
insult.
card which is specifically nice against Skellige. And you also want to get the medic out before he resurrects that, because then he just shoots that down. Yeah, what we can do now is just deploy a Brigada, because every time the bear shoots, also the Brokvar Hunter grows, which is of course something nice for us. So yeah, let's just go.
Go on, Enkezel!
Bow before modern Freyr.
Yeah, and now the other resurrectors he has are dead. He has like 2 more resurrectors, and to Orquist resurrecting him, sure, good luck. I don't really care. The thing is, like, it's not really nice. If he shoots the Brigada, this
What
grows
is
again.
it?
Shooting the emissary to deny has medic value. It's definitely a possibility. What we want to make sure, it's very, very important with this deck, guys, that you don't use Joachim the wrong way as well. Like, you know you have the Roach in there, so you want to use Joachim after you pull the Roach. At this stage here, what you can do, you can just deploy Ciri probably. Pretty neutral minion, you play her in the back row to play a little bit around Igni.
You talked enough.
Or cycle the Roach out. He will probably also
Modern
have...
Freyr is patient, but she brooks no insult.
Sure. And this is pretty much acceptable, I think. Puts it here, gives him some extra stats. And what we can do now, since we have the Roach out, we could put the Joachim here, so he doesn't get the extra stats. Unless we say... We still have Peter in there, but we're gonna pull that with Kai anyways, yeah. We can just put Joachim here. This will make this weaker, and it will not be make him resurrect the Morkvarg.
Enough! Let us finish this!
Get this out, and what do we rot toss which row? In the last row he has at least 3 stats, and the front row is even bad because of the Morkvark, so we just put it in the back row.
Our shields are our ramparts!
Sure, to be expected.
Give them no rest, no reprieve!
I mean, the nice thing with them, we can just actually make a Rod Tosser eat that for sure, and we should also go for that. So now we are 4 versus 3 cards, and we are still ahead in stats. That's very, very good for us. So what do we want to accomplish here? We could just Rod Toss now, I would say, which is totally reasonable. Just try to get them now. He will probably remove it again, but it's fine for us. Yeah. He's also growing, having a good time.
You talked enough.
Here we definitely blank for him. Car here gonna pull us.
I shall do what I must.
Repeater. An emissary we can take. This will grow. We can take emissary into knight. And putting the emissary probably also next here, but it's kind of our choice.
Please wait, Your Excellency.
Because emissary will make him
Falling
also
behind.
better. So sure, we put it here. Doesn't really matter
Order will
there.
triumph. It must triumph.
But we're definitely getting the upper hand here because we also...
Calm yourselves.
Sure. Donar is not gonna do too much. No, we can just... There's 2 ways of doing that. We can just freeze the back this row when we don't get the Rod Tosser value. But the Rod Tosser value is not that important more anyways. So I will just freeze that, which gives us about 10 stats value. Or we can go for the Rod Tosser, but when the Morkvark mod might die. Usually the Tremor is a little bit better, but it's the question because if the Morkvark dies here and he gets the Brokvar Hunter buffed, it's not too good for us. So we just
Tell me
freeze
what
this row.
you've got.
Like normally you would like to use the Tremor because it's just more raw stats immediately.
That might even be amusing.
So yeah, Brokvar Hunter doing a good job as well. Getting this out. Normally you want to get the Tosser out 1 turn earlier, as I said. But not in this case. Because Frost gives you more value. So as I said, maybe not the perfect played game, but also keep in mind I'm trying to do these videos more often for you guys now. Keep in mind, it's not that easy to explain you guys the deck and time play at this kind of rank. But I really hope you enjoyed the guide. Definitely gonna try to do more of that, because I think when I was a new player, I enjoyed these videos a lot. See you in the next YouTube video. Hope you enjoyed it.